Hey, so I realized as I was thinking that I keep showing my equation without ever really explaining what the hell it is. Just going here's some math, guys, read it. So I think I'm gonna start with showing my key and going down the list and explaining what each one of those are and how they pertain to the idea. And then I'm gonna talk about the idea itself. So this might be like a couple minutes, but here we go. Here's the key. Some of them are self-explanatory. Like some of them don't really need tone. That's the four tones. Passive, aggressive, assertive, and passive aggressive. Not hard to quantify. Past, again, pretty easy. Semantics. That one's like how someone else understands what they're trying to say or what you're trying to say. Like it's different than morphology. It's more like their understanding of the word. Okay, then emotion. That's obvious what the person is going through before they're thinking this, or as they're thinking it too, or what is conveyed by that thought and what emotion is evoked. Number of people, that's pretty easy. You just throw in the number of people and it kind of fucks up the whole equation. So it varies greatly with the number of people. Morphology, that's how the meaning of a word changes from person to person. So the game telephone is a great thing for morphology. Like I said something and then by the end of it, it's still the same thing but it's said differently. That's morphology. Direction or intent, where you're going with this, I guess that's how you would do that. Trust, the level of trust you have for the person, what you would lay down for them, basically. Experiment, I don't know if this needs to be put in yet, but experiment is like how many times you've gone through this already. Proof is very important. You need to know if there is or isn't actual quantifiable proof before you're having an analysis or an idea. Or a discussion even. Proof is heavy in discussion. Intensity or investment, how deeply you want this to happen. That's important. It's different than incentive because incentive is what something is given to you. Intensity is something you give to yourself. So, then time forward because there's a cool little paradox that happens with this, with time. Freedom, how much freedom you're allowed to think, like basically how many libraries, how many books, how many different ideas do you have. Medium is important because some people still believe the internet doesn't have valuable information. So, and then defect, it's not really defect, it's more deficiency. It's like there's people with Asperger's and shit who have amazing abilities that are overlooked simply because they have this thing going on in their head. I can relate. Okay, and then so here it is again, because I'm going to keep showing this until people can understand it. So then you take all the variables and you put them in time times freedom, multiply those two. Then morphology times semantics, those are important. Then you multiply all of that by the tone of the idea. I don't know how else to say it. Then intensity times, is that emotion? Yeah, it's emotion. So yeah. Oh, I didn't even put L in there. Shit. But that's intensity or investment. Um, yeah. Oh, the implications. So the whole idea behind all this is imagine if we could teach stuff more than just grammar and form in school for language. You taught them everything, every variable that I've gone down that you teach in school. So basically everyone is taught from an early age how to properly communicate exactly how they're feeling without any kind of miscommunication. It's just not allowed anymore. Imagine how engineers speak. Jacques Fresco kind of opened my eyes to this idea with this there's no ambiguity when engineers talk to each other. How does this work? What powers it? How much can this handle? When does it break? They just keep asking questions until there are no more questions. And that's what I'm doing with my formula or my equation. It's not done yet. I'm halfway done, which is cool. Almost halfway done. Discussion's gonna take a long time, and interpretation's gonna take the longest time. Interpretation is gonna take a very long time because I think about it all the time, every day. on how to put it on paper, and then I don't usually put it on paper till like weeks have gone by of thinking about it. But yeah, so the whole idea is that, like, yeah, you just teach people how to communicate. I mean, there's a lot of that now where people don't know how to communicate, or they're miscommunicating. They're using a lot of emotion, but they don't have the right direction, or they're not understanding the other person's semantics, which gets me in trouble all the fucking time because I'm very literal with the word meanings, and people kind of throw them around all the time. So yeah, like I have problems with this. That's why I'm doing it too. And like I'm gonna be a cosmologist or at least an astrophysicist because cosmology is like top of the line, like forward thinking. Like you have to be kind of revered to be a cosmologist. So astrophysicist seems in the right direction for me. But yeah, so this is fun to do. It's fun to think about. I think, like, can we write a programming language for people? I should have said that first. Like that's the headline. Like, can we write a programming language for people like we do with computers? Can it be done? So it's just you just type in your words, you know the format, you know what you're supposed to do. You just plug in your words where you're supposed to where you need emotion, where you need morphology, where you need I love morphology. I keep saying that. That's kind of irrelevant in communication on the large scale. Like person to person it's very important, but on the large scale enough people are going to be around to kind of like pull out what they all know. But yeah, too much emotion, not enough direction, too much intent. That's important. Like, I don't know. If you quantify all of those with numbers, it'll come out with some really fantastic data. And that's what I'm so stoked for when I finish it and I start actually finding the data. Like, tone is really easy to get, and there's plenty of studies on it already. So you can get the information for it. And a lot of the other stuff, too. Like, it's not that hard to find information or even get studies done for them. Like, I'm going to be in school for a while and doing some fun stuff. And I hope to rub shoulders with some people who are pretty awesome at other stuff, too. So maybe it's like, hey, can you do like a study with maybe 1,000 people for me? I'll pay for it. Like, it's just not in my field. I don't know if that exists, but I'm going to make it exist, maybe. Because this, like, the scope of it goes beyond all borders. Like, it works with all people. So, yeah, it's just something fun to think about and something fun to do. Alright, peace, dudes.